Thank you so much for sliding through, Dark Side family. Welcome again to another segment of Intimate Conversations with LaDios. Today's guest is Sister Mary X. Sister Mary X is the sister in charge for the Nation of Islam in Denver, Colorado. She is my sister in charge. Sister Mary is a wife, mother, homemaker. She is a fighter and soldier for Allah. And her agenda is to promote equality and peace for all people in the aspects of life. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. So, Sister Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you come from, who you are, what you do. Tell us a little bit.
Pretty much, I am from a little town called Muskegon, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
It's, of course, up north in Michigan.
Mm.
And I've been here in Colorado for about a year and a half.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the weather is quite different, huh?
Mile high.
Mile high. Yes. Were you able to acclimate to the high altitude here?
It's very still different. It's very different. The quality of air, I think, is really different, especially for the elevation of where we sit. So, yeah.
And you said from Michigan, right?
Yes.
What brought you here? What was the,
So, I came here and to my cousin's wedding and eloped with his best man. Ooh.
What?
Don't try this.
Wait. So, you went to your cousin's best wedding.
I went to my cousin's wedding.
So that he must have been male.
He is.
And his best man.
Yes.
You got married.
Yes.
And eloped.
Yes.
So it was like love at first sight?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. See, love at first sight does exist.
It does.
Yes, well, Sister Mary, we were hoping to have another guest, but she was not able to make it. We definitely want to create a safe environment as she wasn't feeling well. So shouts out to Sister Kenya. We do wish that you were here, but we will bring you back on for the next one. In the meantime, in between time, today we wanted to discuss some interesting and important topics. As you know, Ice Cube has written what he calls the Black Contract for America. And he has been getting a lot of backlash over the last, couple of months, because he went to sit down with the two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, to discuss the Black Contract. And we'll go into more of that as we get through the interview. But 3 topics we're going to hit on today is we're going to discuss the Black Contract and the backlash of Ice Cube and what the future looks like for Black people, as well as what are some of the possible solutions that we can have as Black America. So let's hit some bullet points, right? And I know as I have been watching Ice Cube, he has definitely said that since he started the Black Contract, it has been evolved. So I know Sister Mary will chime in on a couple of things that I missed myself. But there were definitely about 13 bullet points. I'm going to read each of the bullet points and just a tidbit of one of the bullet points, but I'm not going to go into depth about it. But you can go onto his website and get the details of these bullet points. So one of them is a bill to guarantee Black opportunity and representation. He wants the government to adopt a plan of neo-reconstruction to redress past wrongs systematically imposed on Black Americans economically throughout many generations that has resulted in a wealth gap, where the average white person or family has 10 times the wealth than Black America. He also, in a part of that bullet point, he wants Juneteenth to become a federal holiday, which, we still celebrate it as Black people, but it is not a federal holiday. Then we have number 2, which is bank and lending reform. Bank lending will be regulated to require banks to lend a percentage of all loans and credit categories on an equal basis to Black populations each bank serves. So, as you know, currently, approximately we're 13.4% of the race in America, but we don't get the loans that our counterparts do. Number 3, the federal funding of baby bonds. To pass a federal program providing every child with a government-funded trust account at birth, starting with a $1,000 contribution. He basically, and again, you can go into detail with this, but basically at the age of 18, the mature young adult will be able to access these funds, but it is restricted to asset enhancing actions such as buying a home, starting a business, or education. Okay. Number 4, Federal Reserve and government pensions. They must allocate at least 13.4% of their investments into Black-owned enterprises and business, venture capital, and private equity funds that take money. Public entities must invest 13.4% of their total funds in Black-owned businesses. Number 5, the finance oversight. You'll probably have to go in a little more detail for that. And number 6, the personal data and credit. So like the 1970 Fair Credit Reporting Act regarding credit data, there must be guidelines regarding arrests records that allow similar privacy and accuracy protections and the right to dispute and correct inaccurate data that's reported on the data and credit. Prison reform. For all privately run prisons will be abolished. Prison labor disallowed without consent, and nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior standards are met. Okay, I think that's fair and equitable. And then the judicial reforms, eliminate mandatory minimums and 3-strike laws. Again, they have a lot more details under these bullet points, but I'm just touching on some of it. And then number 9, Police Reform Act. So this one, they want an elimination of qualified immunity, requirement of mandatory malpractice insurance for police officers, make municipalities liable for unconstitutional actions by police, mandatory use of dashboards and body cams, and elimination of chokeholds and no-knock warrants. So it's a lot more under that bullet point as well, but that's standing out as well. Number 10, the FCC licensing of public airways. This one I'm not really understanding, but what he said was to broadcast networks will be required to air Black produced content equal to 20% of the total content on the network as measured by time. I don't understand what that means, but do you?
A little bit,
okay.
Because
you want to elaborate on that?
FCC normally deals with the airlines.
Okay.
And so you know that the airlines are all operated off, airtime. So that is dealing with a federal regulation also when it comes down to airing things.
Nice. Okay, thank you. Well, you can always interject on this. Okay, so 11, Confederate monuments and institutions. Basically, he wants to eliminate the elimination of all Confederate statues, uses or displays of Confederate flags on government grounds or property with public access. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I was in Alabama and it was the biggest Confederate flag I had ever seen across the highway.
Right.
So I understand that, but let's see how they handle that because people still have a freedom of expression and speech. Correct.
Me personally, I don't think that's relevant to our condition. But that's my opinion.
Right. Just know where they stand.
Yeah, just know where you stand. I'd rather deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't know. Number 12, the AJP Program for Education and Jobs. Adoption of AJP, a public-private program that provides access to jobs and education and or training for people willing to put in the work and commitment.
So they already have like I know in Michigan they have what they call Michigan Works. And so they already have that implemented where you can go there and use the computer and find jobs, find out who's hiring. That's pretty much where people go, for staffing or if someone's coming in to hire. So I think they already have that, maybe not everywhere, but I know that they do have that program. So,
and this is really important because that was mentioned in a couple of Ice Cube's interviews, is that some of these things are implemented in certain states, but it needs to be a national thing. Right. This needs to go be across the board. And then the 13th one was Black responsibility. We can't just have our hands out. We have to actually implement and do the work. We have to change our communities. We have to police our communities. We have to be accountable for what goes on in our communities as well. And it's very detailed of what he listed. But with that, what are you thinking about this black contract here? What are your thoughts?
I shout out to Ice Cube. I will say that. I think he's doing a great job with that. it's funny that we want to give backlash for someone who has taken the initiative to say, you know what, I'm going to be another one to stand up for black people, because anytime anybody stands up for black people, it's always backlash. But the funny thing is that is from black people.
Yeah,
we're trying to help black people, but we get backlash,
Yeah,
and we see it all too much. Minister Farrakhan did the Million Man March, and how much black backlash did he get about the Million Man March, trying to get black people together? So anytime that we want to help our people, we get backlash from our people, because if you notice, you haven't heard backlash from anyone else.
No, and it's so funny because the backlash all started when he went to sit down with the political parties. And do you understand what happened? What happened with the history? What happened with that?
What they're trying to state is, you know what? If he goes with the Trump administration, then if they're afraid that if black people see that, then they'll go vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
But as he stated, I call for a meeting with both parties, the Republican and the Democrat.
Yes.
He said, however, the only one who responded that could do it before the election was Donald Trump campaign. So that just shows you, even though most of our people who don't understand the parties, because both parties come with great, debates about, different issues. You may not agree 100% with the Republicans, but some things that they say is right and exact. And then the same vice versa with the Democrat, party. And either way, whether you vote, for whatever party that you vote for, at least have some understanding of what you're voting for,
And then he also mentioned, and I agree with this, is that you want to see what you're going to get out for the vote, to give your vote for that party. You don't want to just vote because they're Democrats or you're a Republican. You want to vote because you're getting something out of it. And what's so interesting is he went into to form a negotiation and be a bipartisan. He was not trying to, support or fund any party. He wanted to talk about the black contract, which is where people are ignorant in politics. I'm not saying I know everything about politics, but I do some research, and that's where we fail to do research. So, when you think about it, going through some history, in 1964, Martin Luther King met with President Lyndon Baines Johnson for the rights of black people. And, you know what I'm saying? He may have not agreed with everything he said, but he met with them. Okay? 1964, Malcolm X met with the KKK to talk about territory for black people. 1920s, Marcus Garvey, he met with the KKK as well to talk about territory for black people. But then this conversation is about black people, but yet black people have a problem because he's having a conversation with someone that they don't like. I'm confused on that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because no matter who's in their seat, they have a reason not to like him.
Yeah.
We got a first black president, President Obama. And although he was our first black president, we had a problem with it because now he's out the seat. He didn't do nothing for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same way with, Donald Trump. Now, me personally, they do what they have to do. I don't know what go on behind closed doors. Only thing I can say, okay, is if I agree with certain things that this person say, then either I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump because I agree for what what he said, or Joe Biden because I agree with what he said. But Joe Biden was also the vice president for Obama, so I'm kind of confused because one goes with the other. So you already see what both parties are already doing or have done or even up to. So yeah, I was kind of confused on this. So it's either you loved Obama and what he did and what he stand for, which is the same thing that Joe Biden's going to do. Nothing's going to change, you know. Or you agree with what Donald Trump said. So it's up to you, you know, one or the other. But regardless of the fact, Ice Cube has come and said, you know what, I've seen these and I'm coming to you because these are the issues in our community, and I'm trying to see if I can assist on you helping me help you to help us fix these issues that I see as a black man in our community, because it's way too many deaths.
And he has clearly said that he is an undecided voter. He says that in the past he has voted Democrat, but now he is an undecided voter, and he says there's white supremacy on both parties.
It is.
So, I mean, what do you do? So if you're going to sit at the table, at least try to get a piece of the pie while you're at the table, you know? as I was watching a couple of other YouTube channels, he went on Cocktails for the Queens. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this.
No.
Okay, well, Claudia...
cocktail.
Cocktails does not mean it has to be alcoholic. Okay. Most times, some of them are drinking tea or something. I know Lisa Ray's always drinking a tea. But Cocktails for the Queens is on, was it Fox? What is it? Fox? I can't remember. Go ahead and look that up for me, Mr. King. But anyhow, it's Claudia Jordan. And Lisa Ray, Vivica Fox, and Selena Johnson are all a part of that particular segment for Cocktails for the Queens. So they brought him on. It was like a few days ago, maybe. But one thing that, and you know, it was kind of a interview that could have went really bad. It wasn't. I was very disappointed because it was very disorganized. It wasn't Alyssa speaking or they were talking over him. But Claudia says, well, my main thing is about this black contract was, where is it for, there's nothing in there specific for women, black women. And he said, that was my...
Black, right?
He said, but I did put something in there. He said, I put Black America. And she goes, no, but nothing specific for black women. And then he goes, well, when I put black, that's for everybody.
But whole.
Okay, so this made me think of 1995 and the Million Man March. And the minister says, all you women stay home, and he's calling all black men, okay? All black men. Because they need to step up to the plate.
They need the maintainers.
They need the maintainers. They need the leaders. They're the one, you know what I'm saying? So what was I remember watching, you know, because my first husband was like, you better be going. You ain't got a choice. And he went. But I remember watching, I seen like, there was like a couple of women that you know, they did it was like a long, from 4 a.m. to, I don't know, 10 at night, you're filming footage. But one sister, she came because she had a young son and she wanted him to see it. He had to be about 7, 8, or 9. I can understand that. Some other sister was like, well, we should be a part of this, you know, we should be a part of this. Why is it that they're not seeing, why is it they're always trying to fragment the whole masses and make it something that is not? Because it said Black America. If you're black, you should have been known that you're inclusive. And so as the conversation continued, she says, well, I still want you to put something with Black America, something about black women. He says, okay, I already told you I will. He said, but y'all write it up, tell me what your needs are, and then we can put it in. He said, because the black contract has been redone several times. And she says, that's not, basically, I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not quoting. She's like, you're the one in charge of this, you should do it. He says, okay, I'll write it up. And he goes, I'll write it up. And he goes, and you can tell me what your needs are, because I don't know your needs. And we dealt with specialists to make it all inclusive for Black America. He said, but once again, he says, I've done it, the work, but nobody wants to come and help me. Nobody wants to come and help me. So we either are nagging because you're sitting with parties, and then you're trying to fragment it by saying you're not including all black women. But then he's like, I'll add it to the black contract if you guys write it up. But then, I don't want to do that. You started this, so you finish it. What the hell is that all about?
So remember, we have a role reversal taking place, you know? So we as women, we got it in our mind that, you know, we independent. We can do this on our own. We can do that on our own. There are certain things that we just cannot do on our own. Right. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it. But if you got it, then they're going to treat you like you got it. You know, we have to be women. And I'm not saying be like back in the olden days, women seen but not heard. But I'm saying allow a man to be a man. Yeah. We are, you know, we can't be masculine. That's their role. You know, we have to be feminine. And anytime you say black, it's like in the Bible. When the Bible is teaching us and they saying let him or let her, it doesn't mean that he specifically like, oh, black people got to do this or black people got to do that. No, because it meant one type of people. So if he says Black America, that means women, men, children, you're still black. So when they're telling the difference with everything, you know, you have to always remember that regardless of the fact whether you're a man or a woman, you're still black.
Yeah, and it's applicable.
Hey Dark Side family, had a long day? Need to unwind and relax? Well, book your appointment with the Healing Oasis, a licensed professional with AJ Battle. A healthy body is a healthy life. Royalty Blends, where they offer teas, tinctures, trinkets, health and wellness services, spiritual readings, and among many other products of interest. Royalty Blends by Amisha for inward healing and health. Let's talk about Resilience Beauty hair growth products designed to stimulate faster hair growth, keep hair moisturized, and prevent breakage. Resilience hair care products are made with non-GMO, vegan, and organic ingredients. And then we have Resilience Perfume, a woman's fragrance designed and inspired by Gracie Phoenix. After surviving domestic violence, you can bounce back after any crisis. A percentage of the proceeds will be donated to victims of domestic violence. Resilience, a fragrance designed by Gracie Phoenix.
And so here's something that Black people do, because they also talked about he was invited with a couple of other artists, with Kamala Harris, to be on a Zoom call, and he's like, that's not what I was promised. I was promised a telephone call. And she was like, yeah, but you could have said your piece and talked about, he's like, no, I didn't want to spin wheels. He said, I had a call with them, with the Democratic Party before, and we didn't even touch one bullet point after 45 minutes of conversation, which is so funny because he said, I wanted to get something done, and that's why I didn't participate in that Zoom call. So one of the things is I found out, like, with the LGBTQ+2 community, they're not sitting up here saying, well, what about trans and what about this? They're just like, we're collectively one unit. Let's just get this, let's get what we need done. And so that's why they've had more movement for what they needed in 10 years versus Black America, because we're so fragmented that we're like, okay, we need something for the women. Okay, we need something for the men. Oh, so we need something for the prisoners. But he wrote a contract that is all inclusive, and I'm not understanding why is it getting all this backlash, because it's for us. You know, even D.L. Hughley, if you watched his, and I know you did, he basically said he wasn't unqualified. What are your thoughts?
The most Untitled Muhammad teaches us, if you can pass a grade, you can teach a grade. But it's because we don't read. Now, most of us, you know, we are in these industries, we're afraid of being blackballed. Because if we're blackballed, then nobody wants to be bothered with us. T-Boz from TLC talked about that, you know, in one of her segments last week, you know. So nobody wants to be blackballed. Right. So nobody wants to be not out here just making money, because technically money is what drives people. You know, we've seen it with Monique. Yep. You know, but she won her case. You know, so
she sure did. But she stood for what she believed in,
and nobody stood with her. I don't know if you remember that segment of Steve Harvey's show, but she said that. You know, nobody stood with me.
Yep. I watched
and so my advice to our brother Ice Cube is keep on. So I'm standing with you. You may not see me.
I'm with you, Cube.
But I'm standing with you, and it's because our people don't read. And so as long as our people don't read and they're taking everything for face value, because I heard that he went and sat down with Donald Trump, then it becomes a division, like religion. Religion divides people. Right. Politics divides people. If you take the right amount of anything from anybody, it will divide people. But this right here is something that should be pulling us together. Right. You know, it should not be separating us, saying, you know what, how many of us don't have a trust fund for our children? Right. So they're saying, look, when they born, this black man and black woman is going to get $1,000 until they're 18. Most of the time our children don't go to school because they can't afford those admission fees. That's $4,000, even though you get a free grant. That still does not include the admission fees or anything that they may need, you know, to accomplish the above said, you know. So that is a big thing, you know. And so for D.L. Hughley to say that he's not qualified, and we're just paraphrasing, for you to say that someone is not qualified, then what makes you qualified? Because you've bust a few jokes? I can bust a few jokes, but that does not make me qualified to, you know, just stand up there and just be a comedian, even though I'm my own comedian, you know. But we have to be careful what we say, because you're going to tear down your brother and you see he's doing good. Look at the good that he's doing, you know. Even if you don't agree with some points that he may have said, agree with what he's trying to do, because regardless of the fact, you, Mr. D.L. Hughley, you're here too. Just like Nick Cannon, he was here too, wasn't he? And he did great with Wild Out. But when you say something that somebody that don't like, guess what? It's over. But then, even if it's over, know that you got a brother or a sister to lean on when it's done over with, because regardless of the fact, you still black.
Exactly. And that's just the bottom line. That is definitely the bottom line. And then after he sat with the Republican Party, the next thing you know, he's out watching a game with 50 cents and they have hats on and they photoshopped it and put it.
Yeah, just adding
stuff. And see, this is the thing is people don't do their research because he tweeted it and said, no, that didn't happen, man. Like,
right.
You tripping. You know I didn't put that hat on. But we're so quick to be reactive instead of being responsive. Going through this, I think it's a great contract. I know everything is not going to happen overnight because people will say, well, what if they don't do anything? And they may not. But it doesn't mean we don't have a platform to build off of, because even, again, we had a platform that was submitted by the Nation of Islam called the National Agenda from 2000 to 2008, and this talked about the programmatic plan of action of public policy issues and analysts that were by the NOI that can help America, to help save America. This is not a new plan. This is just a build off of several plans. The problem is what?
They're not being implemented.
Yes.
You know, and then let's say that, which the Most Honorable LaDios Muhammad also teaches us that we could change the condition overnight. Mm-hmm. So it can be done, but just as much backlash as you're giving the brother Ice Cube, go and look up. And even if you can't read, because some people may be ashamed that they can't read or comprehend what it is that he's stating, you know, call someone and say, you know, well, what you think about this? Because most of the time it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't type of situation when it's dealing with our people, because it's always going to be something that we can find in something that we just don't like, that we really just don't care too much about. But look at your futures. We're losing the momentum to live and why we're living, you know?
Yeah.
So the Nation of Islam has, you know, the different type of programming also that's similar to what the brother Ice Cube is saying when it comes down to our health. That's one of the big things that they're arguing, you know, about is our health. But it all boils down to the proper way of eating, you know. But how many places like Detroit, Michigan, who don't have grocery stores in the inner city?
Yeah, and
you know,
and due to the economical wealth gap, that creates poverty, and that was the whole premise of the black contract. What does the future look like for Black America? What is your thoughts? Because we have systematic racism. A lot of times when they do implement some of these programs for us or things to help us, it's already set up to sabotage or cap us. This is as far as I'm gonna let you go. You know, you still gonna be, you know.
So our future, I still believe that our future is great if we stood together.
Right.
Divided, we fall. United, we stand. So even if it's like having a sibling, somebody you're just not gonna get along sometimes. You be like, did you steal my shirt or did you just take my jacket?
Right.
Them my shoes, you know. So you're gonna bicker, you know, back and forth. But at the end game, you know that your sister or your brothers, they still love you.
Right.
And that's how we have to look at this black agenda. I know that what he's saying has my best interest at heart. And if you notice, they're all finances.
Yes.
Everything is finances.
Yes.
Because what is the root problem that we have in the black community? Finances.
Yeah.
Everything. The reason why your children can't have these shoes or the finest clothes that they've put out
to a college or get the best education or get the best health care is because of economics. You know, you can't live in a good, healthy neighborhood, or, you know,
because you can't afford the house.
Yes, exactly. And
the
so
interest rates. Crazy.
You can't get good credit. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you know, and we have, some of us have not financially been educated. We lack education on financial stability or taxes or anything, and so that also is a part of this, because we don't have a good, strong financial education. I mean, when I graduated from high school, how do you give a kid who's never had credit a credit card? I mean, just like that. I mean, this was years ago, but just like that, you already set them up to fail. And the fact that you're going to school, if you don't have a trust fund set up, or your parents didn't save for you, or you got tons of scholarships, or an athlete, you set up to fail. I mean, you're going to come out in hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt, you know.
And how many of them know about bankruptcy? How to file bankruptcy? Even if you even should file, you know, bankruptcy, we don't have a financial literacy.
That's true. And you know what the interesting thing is? You can get pretty much anything. I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, anything you want to find, you can find in a book.
That's it.
You can find in a book. I mean, I personally still prefer libraries and books. You know what I'm saying? I personally still prefer to read a book. But even with the access to Google, people still don't read. If they put it on, it's there. That's it. They don't go down the rabbit hole to really find out stuff. They just like, that's it.
Surface, that's it.
You know?
Surface people.
What do you think are some of the solutions? I know you kind of alluded to it, which is, you know, collectively coming together, because our unity has been said is more powerful than the atomic bomb. So what are some of the solutions that you're looking at?
I believe that the first thing that we need to do, because this is the biggest thing, is we need to go into these communities and start educating the people first. Okay? Because we're killing ourselves at a rapid
Educating
rate.
in what way?
Educating on why it is that we need this or that. So educating on why we need the, you know, financial, you know, thing is knocking down all barriers that we may have. So let's say that you have a barrier because you can't keep a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the solution to that is, if you go down here to here and you have a felony, then you need to tell them, look, I have a felony, so I can't get this job, you know? And then they say, okay, well, you may have a felony for this, but this is a list of jobs that you can't have with the felony.
Nice.
That's knocking down one barrier.
So providing more resources to people who are not aware of the resources.
Especially our youth. Because they're, at this point, of course, you know, we're in the Joshua generation. So most of them are figuring out how to do for self. But then the younger ones who have not had any guidance, you know, whether a father figure or a mother figure, or maybe the mother work all the time, or maybe the father, you know, works all the time. They don't have any guidance but the streets. And the street shows more love than the people at home, because nobody's at home, you know. And so...
But nobody's at home because I'm working 2 jobs to take care of my kids, because I don't make a lot of money, or I don't have enough income to meet the needs to get out of the hood and better housing and stuff. So this is valid. His contract and the bullet points are very valid. Is that correct?
Very. Oh yeah. It's right and exact and on time, you know. But when we only agree when it's, you know, us, you know. We don't care about none going on. And we're getting used to, oh, such and such died. So I seen on Facebook the other day somebody saying, you know, Facebook just becoming the RIP obituary of everything.
Yes,
you know,
it's horrible.
So sometimes you don't even want to get on there. You be like, what happened to this person? Oh, such and such shot them. You know, oh, such and such shot them. You know, and so everybody just being shot. You know, and so now we're being
desensitized.
Everything about death.
And that's not good
at all.
That is, we're basically still in if we're not desensitized, we're in a survival mode.
Yeah.
Okay. And we definitely want to come out of that.
And that's what his agenda is doing, taking us out of survival mode into it being like a normalcy. You know, you know, this is how you live. This is how you're supposed to live. You're supposed to be happy, not on edge, and maybe you can't sit on your front porch now because somebody may shoot. You see Chicago, they killing those babies wholesale. One baby, she was 11, I believe, showing her mom the latest dance, and you know how they used to be back in the day, you know. And a bullet hit her and killed her in front of her mother, you know, at a joyous family time, you know. But we have no value for life right now.
And that was part of the responsibility that he listed, that we have to take responsibility for our communities and everything. But if some of us are so scared to live in our own communities and we move out, how do we clean up our communities? Because a lot of times if you haven't been outside of your own backyard, you don't know what's out there. I mean, I was one of those parents that throughout the whole year I go drive in the wealthy neighborhoods and show my daughter, you can have anything. Life is limitless. But if our condition isn't right, it doesn't even matter if we get money. It's going to go right out of our hands back into our counterparts' hands and making them rich.
And if you think about Tulsa, Oklahoma, they said that money cycled 100 times through their community before it even went out.
And that was a black community.
And that was a black community.
Black Wall Street.
But our children are not in. That's one of the addendums that he had. Also, like Black history being taught 365 days.
Yes.
You know, And that's because our children, they have a lack of understanding of Black Wall Street, you know, or understanding Pearl Harbor, you know, understanding reparations, understanding what land means when it's yours, you know, versus renting someone else. So basically, when you rent a house from someone, you making them rich and paying off their stuff. And then guess what? After you done lived in this house and paid $1,000 for 20 years,
paid off
not only you paid off their mortgage, but they getting personal gain from you that could have been going to your family had you just got a mortgage. Especially if you live in the inner cities, the mortgages are really cheap. You can get a mortgage for $500 or $600 in the inner city in some places, you know.
Not in Denver.
No, definitely not in Denver. In Denver, get ready to really work your 4 jobs on purpose, okay? So just understand that, you know, and we don't know. And if you right now, if you look and you go and say, okay, how much do I pay for rent a month? And times that by 12. That's what you're paying a year. You know, any habit that you got, times it by a year or a week or whatever you do, and see how much money that you could possibly be spending if you saved.
And that's the thing, is people don't want to save. They want instant gratification right now, and they don't want to sacrifice. There's so many, especially on Brother Ben X. I know you heard of Brother Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's had some amazing guests on, and one of them, I don't recall his name, but he had mentioned that his wife and him for 5 years didn't do anything but pay basic necessities, and they saved and paid off all their debts, and then they were debt free, and now they're in probably the 6 figures. But he said there's a mathematical solution to get out of poverty and debt, but people don't want to sacrifice. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen, because as you know, the election day is coming up soon, and we got some thinking to do, and
This a damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, we don't know, but we still wanted to give honor to Ice Cube and support the Black contract. I'm always about solutions, but there's a bonus part. And this is about Ice Cube, so we gonna go into this bonus part.
Am I getting ready to start rapping?
Can you rap?
A little bit.
Oh, you want to throw one down?
Absolutely not. I don't think that was what the people do with the. Okay.
So on intimate conversations, we ask some questions. It usually revolves around the topic. If you get 70%, you get to choose here. Ooh. Okay, but you will not leave without a gift. I promise you. All right, and the gifts can be fun, toys, candy, whatever. It could be, you know what, we got some nice stuff. So once you win the gift, and I'm kind of prophesizing for you because you're really smart, you know. Once you win the gift, you have to open it up and show everybody. Okay. So what inspired Ice Cube to develop the Black contract? I'm going to give you a multiple choice.
Okay.
A, the death of George Floyd. B, the death of Breonna Taylor. C, the death of Tamir Rice.
I would say all of the above.
There is no all of the above.
I know. But I believe George Floyd would be the proper answer because he was a Black male. So anytime that we're dealing with emotions, sometimes we deal with what we relate to, and he could relate to being, brother George Floyd.
That is correct. What is Ice Cube's son's name? A, Don Jackson. B, Kareem Jackson. C, O'Shea Jackson.
That's it, O'Shea Jackson.
All right, ding, 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 ding. So far we got 2.
Yes.
All right, 3. Why is Ice Cube's initiative singular to Black people only? A, high incarceration of Black men. B, the large economic wealth gap. Or C, the need for reparations.
It's all of the above too, but I'm gonna go with B though. I'll go with B.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. It is the large economic wealth gap. That was his singular initiative. 4. What is the title of Ice Cube's 2020 movie release? A, The High Level. B, The High Voice. C, The High Note. It was released this year.
Oh, haven't seen it. So, since you're right, I guess we'll go with C, The High Note.
Very good. That was really good. So basically what happened was He was supposed to do. It's with Tracy Ellis Ross, which is Diana Ross's daughter, and they did a movie. Which, by the way,
I seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, with the girl that wrote the music at the end because she had been out of the commission for 20 years doing the Las Vegas thing. Oh yeah, I did see that.
And then so him and Tracy Ellis Ross were supposed to be promoting the movie, and then he seen what happened with George Floyd on TV, and he was like, "No, I'm not even going to go promote the movie."
Wow.
And how many actors would sacrifice to say, "Oh,
zero."
Like, we're going to stop, pause. It's not worth me promoting the movie. So that was what was his inspiration. 5, what celebrity said, when you got the Proud Boys and Boys in the Hood, yep, that was a good day? He called out Donald Trump for always calling on black entertainers like Ice Cube for advertisement on policy development and legislation. A, was it 50 Cent? B, Kevin Hart? Or C, D.L. Hughley?
It was D.L. Hughley.
Yeah, you did your homework.
Yeah, because he was out of pocket.
He was out of pocket. Sorry, D.L.
D.L., you my boy.
Yeah, I'm a fan, but
love you, black man.
Okay.
Gotta stick together.
Number 6. What is the date of birth of Ice Cube? A, June 15, 1969. B, September 15, 1969. C, July 15, 1969.
So they all gotta be 69. Joe says 69 was a good year. So, you know what? I don't know. Maybe June. Let's do June.
A, it is June 15th.
Oh, girl, you are on fire! Yeah. And definitely was not rehearsed, but he kind of, Geminis, they got
Gemini. Both my parents are Geminis.
He got it intertwined, so you don't know who you're going to get. My mom was a Gemini.
I'm trying to tell you.
Mom, can I spend the night? Is this the good mom or the other mom?
I can relate. Both my parents are Geminis. And I say they're presently still alive. Okay, 7. Both parties sat down to discuss the black contract with Ice Cube, and both parties made adjustments to their platinum plan for Black America. A, true, B, false.
False.
That's correct. All right,
they both didn't sit down. Yep. Only one sat down.
Only one did. Okay.
Think about it. Democrat voters.
Yeah, they said we'll revisit your black contract after, and they wanted him to endorse. He was like, you're gonna do something now because you can make promises now.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're gonna follow through, but you're gonna do something now. A, 8. I'm sorry. How many children does Ice Cube have? A, 4. B, 6. C, 5.
Let me see. Let me see. Because I'm thinking about Straight Outta Compton when he was writing Friday.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it's 4 of them. I think it's 4. 4 final answer. I don't know.
So 4 is your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Okay, so she went with A, 4.
It was 5.
It was 5.
I can't remember if it was 4
O'Shea Jackson, Sharif Jackson, Daryl Jackson, Deja Jackson, and Karima Jackson. Very good. So far, so good. You got 2 more.
I knew it was either 4. I'm like, he's got 4 or 5.
2 more. So which candidate has Ice Cube endorsed? A, the Democrats. B, the Republicans. C, none of the parties.
None of the parties. He said he wasn't going to endorse any of them because he was still an undecided voter.
Very good. Number 10, his directorial debut was in 1998. It was a 1998 film. What was it called? A, Barbershop. B, 3 Kings. C, Players Club.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let me see.
Ooh.
Let me see.
Ooh.
It had to be Players Club.
Was it?
It had to be.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Yep. Yep, because I was thinking about the 3 Kings. They came out in like the 2000s. I remember that. Yeah, I'm going with Players Club.
Dan, you are correct.
Don't make the money make Don't make the money make
they always say go with your first mind. Your first mind. So wait, I think I had. Hold on, one more bonus question. Now I remember a bonus. Oh Lord, have mercy. My pet. Nope, maybe I didn't. Oh yes, I did. I have a bonus question.
This the $1 million question.
Okay. Nope. I don't mind. I guess I didn't print it out. My bad.
What was it though? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was a bonus question about Ice Cube, but anyhow.
It might have been NWA, y'all.
No, it wasn't about NWA. It was something that came to me last minute, and that's why I printed it out, and then I ended up ripping it up. So I was like, why do I have duplicates? See, my mind is, I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like researching and doing stuff. But anyway, you did wonderful, so you get to choose a gift of your choice. We want to thank you so much for coming on the show to share your your stories, your opinions to motivate,
Some told me to
inspire.
grab this one.
Okay, what is this one? All right, open it up and see what you got.
Okay, now you know I'm like really a girly girl, so I just don't want a paper cut.
I should have bought a letter opener.
Right, at this point, I hate paper
Okay.
cuts. I'm like, I get this.
What did you get?
This is okay. Ooh, y'all. Now you know when you was a little girl, these now laters, they got the chewable ones now. You know.
The more softer one?
Yes, and a gold coin.
There you go. Economic wealth.
I'm gonna frame this, y'all.
Thank you, Sister
You're
Mary.
welcome.
We appreciate your input. This is a
Anytime.
very special show for me. And I do thank you for taking your time on a Saturday right after MGT class to come on here. Where can people find you?
Well, if you go on Facebook, if you look under Denver Study Group, you'll find me.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
and that will be in the details below if you're
Yes.
definitely interested in coming also just to get more information from her about being an MGT or going to our the NOI Denver Study Group Facebook about coming into the Nation of Islam. Also, you got some shout outs because we support black and brown businesses. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a few here, and we'll also put this in the box so that you'll have this.
Yes.
And that's if you need your haircut, we have Herman's
Supreme Style
Barbershop. It's a tongue twister right there.
He's been in business for over 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't know Brother Herman, something's wrong.
And then we have Shay's. It's pronounced Yana's. It's a day spa, and we'll give you the address and stuff will also be found below.
Are you talking about On the Go
Yes.
Wellness? On the Go Wellness. Yes, I have personally been going to them. They've gotten a lot of my money, but they are superb. It is a superb black upper class spa. In fact, the owner is Brother Herman's sister.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you'll find Tanya and Sherelle in there, and they have some great specials
Yes.
coming this weekend. So.
Yeah, so all of their information will be in the comments below. And with that, why don't you provide some words of wisdom for our viewers? I mean, it could be anything. It could be about what we talked about life, about, anything.
Just remember, my favorite quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, mere belief counts for nothing except carried into practice. And that's what our brother Ice Cube is doing. He's carrying into practice what it is that he believes that can benefit us as a black people.
That's right. She said it all, y'all. And with that, Sister Mary, thank you so much for
welcome.
coming on our show.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for joining me on Intimate Conversations with LaDios. Remember to operate from a space of love and not fear.